Lucchese crime family, one of the most powerful and financially savvy branches of the American Mafia, built an empire on corruption, racketeering, and control over key industries in New York City. Their story is not just one of violence and intimidation, but of strategic infiltration into legitimate business sectors, allowing them to dominate industries without attracting the kind of heat that other crime families faced. At the core of their success was a man who operated not like a traditional street gangster, but as a shrewd businessman, Tommy Three-Finger Brown Lucchese. He turned the family into one of the most sophisticated and profitable crime organizations in history, weaving his influence into the very fabric of New York's economy. While the Luccheses were involved in traditional mafia operations like loan sharking, extortion, and illegal gambling, they are best known for their control over the garment district, labor unions, and transportation industries. Under Lucchese's leadership, the family became deeply entrenched in industries that most people never realized were mob-controlled. Their influence was so vast that by the 1960s, they controlled nearly 90% of garment deliveries in New York City, making them indispensable to the economy. Their control over the industry was so tight that every piece of clothing sold in major department stores like Macy's, Saks Fifth Avenue, and Bloomingdale's had passed through their hands. One businessman who resisted their demands mysteriously went bankrupt overnight, with his shipments disappearing and his suppliers suddenly refusing to work with him. While law enforcement attempted to curb their rise, the family's ability to blend crime with legitimate business dealings made them one of the hardest syndicates to dismantle. The Lucchese crime family's origins trace back to the bloody Castellamarese War, 1929 to 1931, a power struggle that determined the future of organized crime in New York. In the aftermath, mafia power broker Charles "Lucky" Luciano established the five families and placed Gaetano "Tommy" Galliano in charge of one of them. Unlike the brash and violent leaders of other families, Galliano was a quiet strategist who preferred to operate in the shadows, consolidating power through business partnerships, political connections, and economic influence. His right-hand man, Tommy Lucchese, quickly emerged as the family's enforcer and economic mastermind, helping to grow their influence in the garment and transportation industries. What made Lucchese even more formidable was his close friendship with New York City Mayor Vincent Impellitteri, which gave the family unprecedented access to city contracts, law enforcement favor, and political protection. By the early 1950s, Tommy Lucchese was the undisputed boss after Galliano's death, or rumored quiet retirement. Unlike other mob bosses who flaunted their wealth, Lucchese preferred a low profile, wielding power through a vast network of politicians, labor unions, and business executives. His leadership marked a golden era for the family, as he transformed it into one of the most profitable and least scrutinized crime syndicates. Unlike the flashy and brutal leaders of other families, Lucchese made deals, not headlines, ensuring that his empire thrived while remaining insulated from law enforcement crackdowns. His careful, strategic approach allowed the family to rise without the kind of internal betrayals and violent conflicts that plagued other organizations. The Lucchese family's most significant stronghold was the New York garment district, a lucrative industry that generated billions of dollars annually. Using a mix of intimidation, bribery, and political influence, Lucchese secured complete control over trucking companies, warehouses, and factory deliveries, ensuring that any clothing manufacturer in New York had to pay the family to stay in business. Those who resisted would find their shipments stolen, deliveries delayed indefinitely, or their businesses mysteriously burned down. With their International Longshoremen's Association connections, they even controlled the flow of imported textiles, giving them a near monopoly on materials needed for manufacturing. This wasn't just a small-scale racket. It was a highly sophisticated, organized, and almost corporate-like operation. Their reach extended beyond the garment district into the airport cargo industry, where the Luccheses became the undisputed masters of cargo theft at JFK Airport. They orchestrated one of the largest cash robberies in U.S. history, the 1978 Lufthansa heist, where nearly $6 million in cash and jewelry vanished from an airport vault overnight. The Lucchese family had such deep control over JFK that boss Anthony "Tony Ducks" Corallo never had to set foot inside the airport. His inside men handled everything. To this day, most of the money was never recovered, and many of those involved mysteriously disappeared or were killed before they could talk. Beyond heists, the Luccheses also controlled the concrete and construction industries, influencing massive building projects throughout New York. By rigging bids and extorting developers, they ensured that only mob-approved contractors could work on major projects, including some of the city's most iconic skyscrapers. Their influence extended into garbage collection, restaurants, and even the taxi industry, proving that their reach extended far beyond traditional mafia businesses. After Tommy Lucchese's death in 1967, the family fell into a period of unstable leadership and increased law enforcement scrutiny. His successor, Carmine Mr. Gribbs Tramunti, lacked the same business acumen and oversaw a period of increased drug trafficking, particularly through the French Connection heroin trade. This brought unwanted attention from federal authorities, leading to major indictments that weakened the family's stronghold. And by 1973, he was convicted of narcotics trafficking, allowing the more business-minded Anthony "Tony Ducks" Corallo to take control. Corallo, who led from 1973 to 1986, was an old-school mafia boss with an iron grip on labor unions and the trucking industry. Unlike his predecessors, he had the misfortune of leading during the era of wiretaps and government surveillance. His downfall came when the FBI bugged his Jaguar, capturing months of conversations detailing extortion, racketeering, and contract killings. These recordings were damning evidence in the historic 1986 Mafia Commission trial, which led to his conviction and the dismantling of the family's leadership structure. With Corallo and other top bosses imprisoned, the Lucchese family experienced internal betrayals, increased government pressure, and a changing criminal landscape. One of the most feared underbosses, Anthony "Gaspipe" Casso, personally ordered or committed over 100 murders. He was so ruthless that even his own men feared him. One associate was found with a dead canary stuffed in his mouth, a chilling warning that snitches get stitches. Eventually, Casso became an informant himself, but his cooperation was so erratic and deceptive that even the FBI gave up on him. Today, the Lucchese family still exists, but it operates as a much smaller and fractured entity, nowhere near the powerhouse it was under Tommy Lucchese's reign. Law enforcement's persistent efforts, combined with internal betrayals and evolving crime trends, have weakened their grasp on the industries they once dominated. However, their legacy remains a stark reminder of how the mafia once infiltrated legitimate businesses, corrupted government officials, and controlled vast economic sectors without the public even realizing it. The story of the Lucchese family has been immortalized in books, films, and television shows, influencing everything from Goodfellas to The Sopranos. Their unique approach to organized crime, combining traditional mafia muscle with corporate-style control over key industries, set them apart from other families. Even in their decline, the Lucchese family remains a blueprint for the rise and fall of criminal empires, proving that the most dangerous criminals aren't always the ones making headlines. They're the ones pulling the strings behind closed doors.